Virgos, welcome and welcome back to the Honey Sea Star Tarot, and welcome to the weekend of May 30th through June 1st. Welcome to June. Just saying, I'm very excited. This is the month, the long-awaited month and most anticipated month for Virgos, where it is the luckiest month and most abundant month for us in 2025. Before we get started though, I just want to say thank you guys to each and every one of you for all the ways that you support this channel, support me, truly, and support each other. Truly, I feel so blessed to have each one of you here, and each one of you makes the difference, and I love you back. So, to get us started, as we walk into this weekend on May 30th, the moon is going to be in Leo, and it's also trine with Saturn and Neptune, which both are in Aries. To top that off, we also have an opposition between the moon and Pluto, which is currently in Aquarius. And so for Virgos, it enters a period of support and challenges for us. And this is the weekend, as I was meditating and running the astrology, it really is the weekend where we are ascending to our rightful place as master manifestors, as master architects in our lives, stepping into the role of the energy of the high priestess, thank you, and also the healer, thank you, and bringing balance to chaos, rewriting the script and taking the reins. And if that resonates, by all means, put a heart in the comments below, because this weekend is packed full of energy, particularly when it comes to emotions, to significant shifts, and to embracing resiliency when it comes to manifesting. And like I say, stepping into the role of the master manifester. So with Leo's moon, the energy really helps us with that assertiveness, right? With taking that center stage in our lives. And Saturn and Neptune's trines bring a sense of grounding and clarity within us. I have no idea. I was not watching which cards came out first. I think it was this. Let's just lay these all out just to get a good idea. Okay. Okay. Interesting. So, with Saturn and Neptune, like I was saying, their trines bring a sense of grounding and clarity and helps us with bringing balance to the chaos. And so if you had been feeling a lack of financial security, a lack of freedom, experiencing an overwhelming tension or responsibility when it comes to debt, especially when it looks at the ideas of being afraid of failure, looking at aspects of cheating, people taking from you, paying attention to superficial aspects, worldly affairs, I guess is how I would put it, that have led towards, or being afraid to have them lead towards, bad investments. This is the weekend again where you are utilizing your intuition and you're tuned in with that Neptune energy. And between that trine with Neptune and the moon, this is where you're aligned to receive the new ideas, new inspirations that bring you out of that feeling, that energy of lack, and instead allows you to reconnect, to raise your vibrations, to learn from the past and use those tools, because knowledge is power, right? And this is where, again, you're sending into the rightful place as master manifester and architect, and most importantly, embodying and ambassadoring through that high priestess healing energy. So again, if you had unbalanced relationships, dealing with unrequited love, disagreements, conflicts, breakups, arguments in the past, just that volatility, particularly when it comes to Saturn, our planet of structure, responsibility, discipline, and karma, especially with Saturn being in Aries, these trials were all teachings for us. And so with it being in Aries, this trine provides a stability and an understanding, particularly when it comes to communication, to our self-expression, but also to our personal relationships. So we can really truly look at those relationships in the past that have led us to a place of lack, to an energy of lack. And it helps us gain insights through our intuition, through tapping in with that Neptune energy to really understand. Take the time to reflect and, most importantly, align and tap into our goals and our values. and more importantly, communicate them with confidence. This is where you've gained new skills. You're stepping up, you're ascending into that energy as the master manifester through the knowledge that you've been incorporating into your tool belt, through dedication to, and mastery towards your skills. But like I say, taking the time to really learn along the way, learn those wisdoms from those past relationships that have really taken from you or have torn you down to a level that really tore your confidence down. And with Pluto's opposition, it offers significant changes and potential emotional intensity, especially when it comes to deep-seated issues revolving around intimacy, power dynamics, and shared resources. Shared resources in particular that have left you in financial poverty or spiritual hardships, financial difficulties even too, but basically just in a place where, again, you just didn't feel like you had the confidence to step into that leadership role, to really take the reins and to architect the relationships and how you communicate your values, your needs, your desires, in finding that balance in your relationships and instead suppressing those, right, for the sake of others, or giving your power away. This is where you're empowering yourself to step into that personal power, and through shining a light on these areas, these issues, it also allows us an opportunity to transform changes in our lives, to take those reins as the ascended master and lead ourselves, lead our choices, our actions to significant changes, and shifts in your life. And those could particularly, especially with our 10th house being activated right now, it leads to significant changes in our careers, in relationships, but it most importantly allows us to really embrace change with a deeper understanding of ourselves and our emotional needs. And if that resonates, by all means, put a heart in the comments below, because this is where in the past, like I say, there could have been aspects where, and I can speak personally, what really comes to me in this is like the ideas of conflict, right? If people are coming at you in a place of really volatility or low vibrational aspects, it can really make me feel anxious. And if that resonates, by all means, put a heart in the comments below if you run into that too. But what that can do is it allows people to really, it gives people power over you in a lot of ways, because you're not controlling your emotions through emotional intelligence, right? You're not communicating or asserting your emotional needs within the situation, but most off, it loses your center, right? And so what can happen is it pushes you into a place where fear takes over, anger takes over, and it leads towards making reckless decisions, making impulsive decisions, and instead it prevents you from coming to the table and stepping up to the plate, taking the reins with 10 toes deep, right? And if that resonates, by all means, put a heart in the comments below, because this is the time with this weekend, with Pluto, with these trines between Saturn, Neptune, and the moon as well. It's time to take a more assertive stance in your relationships and in your personal goals, particularly as they revolve around power dynamics, intimacy, shared resources, career, building your legacy. And this is the time where you're really stepping into a place where you'll find yourself not only taking action, asserting your needs and dynamics within your relationships to balance that chaos both internally and externally. But in doing so, it allows you to really, you'll find, I should say as well, that whether you're trying to or not, you're inspiring others by your actions. You're inspiring and guiding others through your growth and paving the way towards the start of something new. And this opens doors in a mindful and self-awareness kind of way that hasn't been explored before or experienced before yet. And by holding that center, it really allows you to not only stand 10 toes, but it also allows you to stand in your creative energy, to embrace change, and also too, to stand in that personal power where patience is your power, right? The person that is the loudest is the one that truly is the weakest when it comes to conflict. They're the ones that don't have control over the self, and they don't have control over their choices, their actions. This is instead looking at those situations, those volatilities, and instead you're gaining that ascended master manifester role, that power, that energy. And this is the start of a new opportunity for you. And like I say, it also opens the door to a mindfulness through self-awareness, where you're looking at how you can make a positive impact, how you can go through conflict resolution and teach others, inspire others through ambassadoring that leadership role along the way. But what I see in this is really, this is a new doorway, this is a new gateway for you, and you're architecting along the way with that healing energy. You're bringing balance to the chaos. And when I was really meditating on this, the biggest thing that I got is you're rewriting the script this weekend, and it's absolutely beautiful. I truly love it. I am just saying, I just absolutely love it. And like I say, again, double confirmation, this is a new path for you. This is where you're able to see through the illusions, look and utilize your discernment, as well as your intuition, and trust in the self. Trust yourself, because you hold that power and you hold your center, especially where it comes to conflicts. If conflicts in the past have been leaving you defeated, especially with power dynamics, looking at shared resources, this is where we're really going to get a leg up with Saturn, because it's providing that stability. It's offering understanding through emotional intelligence in our communication, but also through our self-expression when it comes to our relationships, when it comes to conflict resolution. And it puts us in a place where we are manifesting. Again, this is where you are ascending to your rightful place as the master manifester and bringing balance to what was chaos before. And like I say, this is also where you are focused. This is a new career. This has to do with leadership when it comes to education, towards mastery of your expertise, towards guiding and leading others, but also towards reaching and achieving your goals. And like I say, again, with the confirmation, I'm loving this. But this is where you are standing in success, driving towards your long-term goals, building your legacy, but also building your stability once again. This is also where with the Knight of Pentacles, you're laboring towards your goals, but what Spirit really wants you to know is perseverance is your power. Patience is your power, because your hard work will pay off, and it leads towards that wealth, it leads towards that prosperity, and it leads towards that success. Now on the 31st as well, we are going to have harmony in June, is all I can say. Not only do we have the 6/6 portal on June 6th, and I'll do a separate reading for that, stay tuned. But on the 31st, the sun, which is in Gemini, is going to be sextile with the moon in Leo, and the moon is going to be sextile with Mercury, which is in Gemini. And so this creates a harmonious flow of energy, as within and externally as without, right? And so expect an increase in your creativity, in the way that you problem solve, in the way that you work through conflict resolution, that leads to a resilience that is truly your rightful place as the manifester in your life, as the master manifester and architect through that place in leadership that offers healing. Now with Gemini being in the sun sign as well as with Mercury, this will also increase your social schedule. And so expect for things to really get busy when it comes to your impact on others, in your social environment, in the people that are surrounding you in your community, and in how you entangle yourself with them, how you problem solve and lift everybody up, and your support systems. And so as it inspires fresh ideas, as it enhances your communication, and surrounds you with a joyful and outgoing energy inside and out, that new moon energy from Gemini, which was activating and is still activating our 10th house of public image, of career, it brings focus and brings attention towards building your long-term achievements, driving towards your long-term achievements through that self-awareness, through that mindfulness, but most importantly, it also is ensuring and building your legacy. And with the Four of Swords in reverse here, this is where, again, if you had been feeling exhausted, feeling like you're just really overworked in a lot of ways, or feeling stagnant, like where you're working as hard as you can, but you're not seeing those results, right? This is where, with the Four of Swords in reverse, it's where you're gaining that mindfulness, bringing balance to chaos, with spiritual energy healing. And again, the sextiles between the moon and Mercury, between the sun and the moon, are going to help us out during this time, particularly with that new moon energy, because it stirs our heart's greatest ambitions. This is where, while embracing and riding that creative wave, and also that increased social activity, it invites Virgos to reevaluate our career goals and consider ways that we can better align to our goals and also our ambitions and our values. Now is the time to review what we've channeled. I don't know why I can't talk, sorry. But it's time to really review. Oh my goodness. Okay, it went back in, so I don't know what was about to flip out. Oh, it did fall out there. Sorry about that. But either way, it invites us to reevaluate our career goals, consider ways we can better align with our ambitions and our values, but also review what we channeled and we journaled from May 29th's Mercury Cazimi. And no pressure, but if you feel comfortable and you also captured those notes, you meditated and really tapped into that energy on May 29th, by all means, share your thoughts. Share what you're reviewing during this weekend, what really calls to you with that energy as you step into that ascension of the Master Manifester. Because again, what I see here is you are taking center stage with that leadership role as the Emperor. This is also where, again, it's like you're exerting that authority with self-discipline, with staying and holding your center with reason, keeping yourself grounded, but also keeping yourself connected to your crown with that foresight, and providing support not only for others, but to your ambitions, no longer putting those ambitions aside, and instead really looking at that, what the heart calls, I guess, what the heart dreams, and marrying what the mind and the heart are really manifesting with that solar plexus energy. And this is stepping to that stage again with confidence. That's again where Saturn is going to help us during this time, particularly when it comes to providing stability, providing self-expression and understanding, allowing us to really communicate those with ease, but also with the foundation that we are enough. We always have been, right? Even when we didn't feel like our power was within our hands. This is where you are ascending to your rightful place this weekend, and you're rewriting that script. And like I say, if that resonates, by all means, put a heart in the comments below. Share your thoughts in the comments below, because now is the time to review what we've channeled, what we've journaled from the Mercury Cazimi on May 29th, and start building pragmatic, practical plans and focus on these ideas and epiphanies, as well as prioritize the route where and in which we tackle them. And it's got a lot of Aries energy involved with it. It's also tapped into the 4, which is basically all about organizing chaos, right? It's putting organization to those journalings. It's recognizing and honoring boundaries that also, too, acknowledges the ability and the importance of boundaries when it comes to providing that stability, when it provides balance to our structure, to our foundation, but also leads and opens the door to that place of contentment. And it kind of fell out 50-50 here, but the Knight of Wands really speaks to our heart as well as that fire, and again to that solar plexus energy. This is embracing that rebellious nature, but also taking action with inspiration. So on one side, it's all about being enthusiastic. It's looking at the dynamics, embracing your creativity, and really becoming very career-driven and highly motivated. This is where you're thriving on challenge, particularly when it comes to a competitive environment. But it's all about taking swift action through your creativity, through your enthusiasm, and also, too, enterprising with your vision, with what you're called to and what you're rewriting in that script, because you are ascending this weekend. Now, on the other side here, like I say, it fell out 50-50. This is where in the past, or what you've been challenged with as a lesson from Saturn, is those feelings of being torn down, right? Not necessarily having full control with self-discipline over your emotional intelligence, especially when things are volatile or chaotic around you, or dealing with conflict, right? Especially with the Wands. This has led to hesitation, insecurities, lack of confidence, maybe even to thoughtless actions, right? Not having that self-awareness, that mindfulness. This instead is where we're able to prioritize and tackle these issues and stand. Like I say, it came out 50-50, so it's like you're learning to really recognize those situations, recognize the lessons, and ignite the lessons, identify the lessons that you've learned through those tests, through those teachings, and step into a place where you're able to really hold your center and thrive on challenge with balancing that heart, balancing those emotions, and also too taking that leadership role of the Leo in that center stage. And as we walk into June, into this next week, into the most abundant month for Virgos of 2025, we are blessed with the moon in Leo being sextile with Jupiter in Gemini. Also, there's a trine with Venus, which is in Aries. We have a conjunction with the moon and Mars, which Mars is in Leo as well. So there's a double Leo there. And then on top of that, we also have a square between the moon and Uranus, which is currently in Taurus. And so as we walk into June, as we walk into this next week, this is the time where Virgos can experience a blend of heightened emotions, social connections, and a bit of unexpected change. And this is where you're truly going to shine as the master manifester and ascend as the architect, the healing priestess, with bringing balance to chaos and rewriting that script where chaos might have basically taken you out of that element in the past. This is where you're instead able to really thrive on challenge. And again, by your actions, you're inspiring others, you're teaching others, you're making that positive impact through conflict resolution, through emotional intelligence, but also bringing order and balance to chaos once again. And so this is a time that we're between the sextile with the moon and Jupiter. It brings this quicksilver energy of optimism as well as good luck, but mostly it brings movement, it brings change, and it increases our social butterflyism, if that's a word. I don't know if it is, but I love it. But either way, that's where you're embodying the Two of Cups, right? This is embracing that heart chakra as well as with that Cancer energy, and really embracing the duality within you. Again, it's about bringing balance to the light and the dark, partnerships, relationships, acknowledging and recognizing the importance of polarities, because polarities help us with discernment as well as help us with making choices that bring about win-win solutions, positive change that impacts not only us, but also gives us the self-awareness and drive and mindfulness to really impact through win-win solutions that make a positive impact for everyone. And this is where you may also be forced with decisions. There could be, again, unexpected change during this time as well as we walk into June. Through cooperation, you're achieving that harmony. And this is where you're also utilizing that compatibility, that law of attraction. Two, if there were conflicts, you're also bringing in, through your leadership, needed reconciliation. And if that resonates, by all means, put a heart in the comments below. Because not only does this activate within our 10th house of building our legacy, really standing and building that public reputation, right, in our career, in our long-term achievements, and stirring our heart's greatest ambitions, but it manifests into June with that Virgoan energy of the Ten of Pentacles. This is where you're at the pinnacle of success, ascending to that manifester, that master manifester role, architecting, rewriting the script, and bringing balance to chaos. And it's the beginning and the end of what was before unstable and now is becoming solid foundations with that root chakra. This is where you're creating safe spaces, not only being secure with confidence in who you are and why you're here, but also bringing stability to those around you within your community, your support systems around you, by allowing yourself to really live in the present and lead with that self-awareness and that mindfulness in bringing those positive impacts for people around you as well in the present. And with the trine with Venus, it also enhances our romantic connections. So it does not surprise me at all that the Two of Cups came out. So with this trine with Venus and the moon, especially with Venus being in Aries, For those that are single, expect love to enter your world if that's something that's not quite there yet. Now, if you're in a relationship as well, expect this to really ignite an additional depth of fire, an additional heat between the two of you that deepens your connections and again brings you to a place of balance in your partnerships and in your relationship. But like I say, with this time, when it comes to Jupiter and that Quicksilver energy, it really is about material success, manifesting legacies when it comes to lasting wealth and prosperity. And within your relationship, when it comes to your family life, this is where you're bringing stability to your foundations within your family as well, within your support systems. But it really speaks to family achievements, coming together with business partners as well. And so it's all about those partnerships here at this time, especially with Venus's trine as well. And then with the conjunction of Mars too, this increases our confidence. And again, this is where you're ascending to your rightful place. This is where you're stepping to that role that really builds the foundations, that allows you to really take the center stage as well as stand 10 toes towards your 10 of Pentacles, towards your legacy, and towards building that foundation. And with the King of Pentacles, again, this is about, especially when it comes to emotional intelligence, conflict resolution, how you find problem solving with win-win solutions. You know, the one thing that always strikes me is like, I think culturally, we always have been, at least in my experience, and tell me if I'm wrong or if you disagree in the comments below, or put a heart if you agree, but either way, no pressure. But typically what I have been conditioned with is, especially in business, especially in looking at how leadership is within different companies that I've worked for or cooperatives, typically there's always, we kind of revolve around this idea that with a winner, there's got to be a loser. Or even in sports, with competition just in general, that there's always got to be someone who wins, and then there's always got to be someone who loses. The beauty about truly being a good leader is when you find win-win solutions. And the reasoning why is because when everybody's invested and through all of our differences towards a common goal, where everybody sees and experiences a benefit from it, you know you've got a really good idea. And you also, because of it, have everybody invested in that really good idea. And if there's different tweaks, different refinements, you also have everybody lifted up to a place where they can come to the table with ideas to problem solve together, be open in a safe enough space, be rooted in a place where we all are looking at that foundation, where we can all contribute with equity involved, with that servant leadership, but also with that mentorship for each other, for ourselves, and with each other together. And that's where unity truly is strength. Together we are stronger, and it's because we think differently. And if we can come to the table where we're looking and focusing at those common goals, finding win-win solutions where everybody benefits, like I say, that truly is the monumental spokesman for a good sign of a leadership role, of a good manifester. Also too, of good servant leadership, because that's where everybody benefits. And if you agree, like I say, put a heart in the comments below. If you disagree, by all means, put that, share your thoughts in the comments below as well. Because with the King of Pentacles, again, this is where you are being that root, that foundation for others as well. It's through your emotional intelligence with self-control, through conflict resolution. But by being that leader, by finding those win-win solutions, you're also inspiring others and proving to them that really your actions speak for leadership more than your words, or as equally as your words, because you're coming to the table as a provider, as being dependable. But most importantly, there's an emphasis on security, and it manifests through financial management. And a very wise elder once told me, and mentor once told me, that especially when you look at business, profitability is only one measure of success. And like I say, when you build everybody up, when you get everybody aligned to come together with win-win solutions towards a common goal, that, in my book, and that's what I was taught, at least by that mentor, and I'll carry it with me, I'll swear by it, because it's It was the biggest epiphany for me when you look at business. That is the true measure to look at because it brings and builds loyalty. It brings and builds investment towards everybody being aligned towards that common goal. Like I say, there's an invested interest and there's also an invested profit. But when you're looking at monetary gain, that is the manifestation that's the result rather than the measure. And a lot of times when you're looking at business, that becomes the focus, and that typically is where a business starts to fall. I'm just saying, and like I say, if that resonates, by all means, put a heart in the comments below, because this is where with the Two of Swords, you're remaining in this place where you're able to hold that center and come to the table with looking at problem solving when it comes to difficult choices. This is also speaking to new beginnings. But like I say, with Mars, it also increases our confidence and it fuels us with this strong desire to express ourselves. And that's where you're utilizing your intuition during this time, especially as we walk into June. And so with being able to really speak and communicate through our self-expression with stability and understanding, emotional intelligence, as well as conflict resolution, we can stand in a place of mentorship as well as a place of inspiration when it comes to guiding others through that servant leadership that really manifests our passions through our passion projects, through our interactions, and that's again what builds those lasting stabilities and foundations. And it also brings balance with that Libran energy. Now with the two, again, it speaks to partnerships, it speaks to balance, and also to embracing those dualities, those polarities, and it allows us to really look at things with discernment, to make difficult choices, and most importantly, to embrace and trust our intuition during this time. Now with the square aspect with Uranus, it brings unexpected changes, and that's where the Two of Swords is really going to come in handy. Because with unexpected change, it can also bring uncertainty, right? That typically tends to throw things out of whack. This is where you have the ability as you ascend into that master manifester, into that architectural role with rewriting the script, you can look at that chaos and instead bring balance. And you can stand with resiliency no matter what's thrown at you with those unexpected changes. But most importantly, you can look at those changes instead of being negative as opportunities and instead manifest even better results than what you could forecast before. And if that resonates, like I say, like, share, subscribe, share your thoughts, put a heart in the comments below, because with Uranus on the 1st, it's really going to kind of switch things up or put some volatility in a good way, like I say, towards our established beliefs, towards our routines, and in a positive way, towards our financial security. Like I say, this is about the result. This is achieving that result, particularly when it comes to your 10th house with building your legacy and really charging towards those long-term achievements as you ascend to that as you ascend to the master manifester role. Oy, oy, oy. And so this is the time to really embrace new ideas. Invite those new disruptions because, like I say, it changes and gives us opportunities to really embrace things and manifest in a way that brings further opportunities that were even better than we were able to forecast before. And through those disruptions, through manifesting positivity into our path, this is where things are really going to lead towards victory, as well as resiliency is going to prove, and patience, that those are your true external strengths. It's through that self-control. But what Spirit really wants you to know at the Chariot is that you indeed are headed in the right direction, especially when it comes to building your legacy. What was hidden with the 7, you're embracing that mystery. You're looking at what you can control. You're rewriting the script along the way, gaining that resiliency through embracing that disruption with positivity. And you're rewriting the script when it comes to positivity and even better results in your path and on building your legacy. I absolutely love this. And if that wasn't enough, as we walk into this next week, the moon is also going to be moving into Virgo. So it puts us in our wheelhouse. It enhances our analytical and our practical, detail-oriented nature. And particularly when it comes to problem solving, This is only going to raise us even higher when it comes to our ascension. And so this also allows us to turn our focus towards health, towards structure, and personal care. And that is the true mark of leadership when it comes to building, not only with resiliency with what's coming at us, what we don't know, and puts us in a place where we can respond rather than react, but it allows us to build through successional foresight, successional planning, right? And that is the true aspect of the magician. I just absolutely love that this came out. I'm just saying, I'm kind of getting goosebumps here too. But this is where, as we turn our focus towards health, towards structure, as we experience a heightened sense of self-awareness and drive, and put balance into what was draining us, put order to where was chaos or where we were feeling unbalanced, by following our inner wisdom, our intuition, trusting our instincts and our gut feelings, this is where we are reaching a point of self-mastery. We are ascending as the master manifester, as the architect, and putting that healing energy where chaos was once before. We're rewriting the script, and it's through not only constructive and creative power, but embracing and tapping into that spiritual energy. And again, this speaks to unity is our strength. By coming to the table and incorporating all viewpoints, we're stronger together because we think differently. And coming together in a place where we can make a positive impact through win-win solutions, through embracing our individuality, but also to coming together in that individuality as a whole, and knowing that we're all connected in that way, especially when it comes to resolution, towards problem solving, through communication and expressing ourselves and expressing ideas. We can put our manifestations, plans, and ideas into practice. And again, share your thoughts on the ideas that and the downloads that you received during Mercury Cassini, during those epiphanies that you received, because that is what this is all about. And this is where, like I say, you are stepping into the place, you are ascending into your rightful place as the master manifester this weekend. I absolutely love it. And like I say, your crown is tapped in. This is where you're also tapped in and receiving those messages and living and embodying and ambassadoring all of the energy and your connection to the universe, utilizing your resources, tapping into all of the elements through a mastery that truly is something that is only learned, is gained. You can have the talent, right, that you're born into, but to master those skills and to master all the elements, that is the sign of true ascension. And if that resonates, by all means, like, share, subscribe, put a heart in the comments below. Now, I do also want to get a few additional messages of guidance from our ancestors. And so, Spirit, what additional guidance can you give us as we... Thank you. I always love it when I never get to finish. Not complaining, I swear. But this is where, again, you are tapping in not only to the divine, but also into the energy, into the wisdom of the past and of your ancestors. Spirit, your angels, and your ancestors are all walking with you at this time. And this is the time where they're reminding you that you indeed are an old soul. You can create your dreams. Now is the time to focus on what you really want. Utilize the resources and the elements that are around you. Walk through life with confidence and with grace, because you have the power from beyond this world, and you are protected. As you rewrite the script, you are the master of finding life's flow. This is the time where, as we walk into June, which is all about that harmony, that balance, this is the time to really be in harmony with the rhythm, with the cadence of your path. And through that cadence of every step, your path will unfold. Perseverance is going to be your key here. Patience is your power, and you will succeed when you ambassador that. You have everything you need, and more importantly, you are protected towards your path of peace. I just love it. And with the Orca Whale, Spirit's reminding you that this is the time to dare to do things differently. Sing your wild song, because there is something that you have, that you contribute, that people are looking towards you at this time for. And as you take action, you are guiding and inspiring others as you make that positive impact. This is the time to manifest your travel dreams as well. So travel may be involved here as well as you ascend. But this is the time to really not be afraid to attempt that great journey with confidence. Be loyal. Friends and family are your treasures. Be brave. You are more powerful than you know. I love it. And I actually got goosebumps a few times, I'm just saying. Now, before we go here as well, let's look at our major arcana, because it never hurts to embrace and balance with our music and with our color vibrations. And so what we've pulled here is the E, the D sharp, and the C. And then color therapy-wise, what I'm looking at here is yellows, oranges, and reds. This is all about the heat of the sun, the warmth that comes from those win-win solutions when everybody's tapped into that fire, right? That creative power. And it really speaks a lot towards that solar plexus, right? It's walking in confidence and knowing exactly who you are, why you're here, and what you're meant to do, as well as being present through inspiration and activation and action and tapping into that crown. This is all about embodying and ambassadoring, the energy of the universe within you. And so, like I say, embrace these colors, embrace these chords, especially as you do your meditations this weekend, because you truly are ascending to your rightful place this weekend as the master manifester, as you bring balance to chaos, and as you rewrite the script. And so I truly hope that this reading helps. I am sending all my love and light to you. Please take care, and I will see you in June.